Fun hat.
Fun hat, yeah. It's amazing. You just flip the just upside down letters now is like a thing. So
I thought I couldn't read for a second.
Yeah.
But it was on trend.
No, I did a podcast with Eric Wood, and I saw he was wearing it reverse brand, so I was like, I want to make sure I get one of those. So yeah, it's my new thing. A little bit.
Yesterday, first day of guys, you did a lot of that inside run stuff. What are you looking for on tape last night?
It's a mindset, right? It's for offensive line, for running backs, you go all off season and you're in shorts, and that's not how the game of football is played. And so, can when we put pads on, still play with a physicality and a personality, but still play with technique? And so that was the biggest thing. Is a lot of times, especially younger guys, you put pads on, they become bull in china shops, right? They just kind of fly around. It's like, can we play with our technique still now that the pads come on? And so. That was the biggest thing is the energy going to stay consistent, and can the technique stay where it needs to be?
Joe, what have you seen from Tyrell Shavers so far, Cam?
Shaves is, his approach is where it needs to be, he's very accountable, and he has a responsibility in the offense. Is you can move him around, he can play all positions, and he always knows what he's going to do. And he's had some opportunities in there, and he's made the most of them. And but you know what you're getting with him, and the consistency. And from a receiver position, any position, right? Is the consistency is everything I always speak of, and so I've been pleased with how he's kind of started camp.
With Shavers, went on further on that. I mean, he's looking at a depth chart that's got a lot of veteran guys who've played a lot of games in the NFL. His approach to that, how do you see his approach to that? Because he's a young guy who hasn't done anything in the league yet. It's really a tough mountain to climb. But what are you liking about what you're seeing from that perspective?
Yeah, I think, we try to tell them that there is no mountain right now. We don't have a depth chart, right? The positions, like we go out to practice, today's a third and long day, right? So you're going 30 straight snaps of 3rd and 7+. So there's going to be guys in there, a lot of guys rolling with the ones. Some of that is just because of legs, and you can't consistently go with it. And so I don't want our guys kind of looking at it and saying, hey, am I getting enough reps with the ones? Am I getting enough reps with the twos? We're trying to be intentional about, are you getting these routes? And some of it is with Josh, but some of it is like, hey, I want to make sure you go down on this field so I can get these 2 plays with you that I need to get Josh maybe some other plays. So to me, a guy like Shaves and, the rest of the receivers, they're not kind of worried about, who they're getting with and where they're getting with and how the depth chart gets. It's like, hey, I got to make sure I'm getting these plays and I feel comfortable learning the offense, and the rest will take care of itself. So if they're thinking about that, they're probably going to struggle out here.
Outside of a couple fumbles, Ray Davis has had a pretty good camp. What have you seen from him?
Fumbles is a big thing.
Yeah.
His demeanor, he's as mature as they come. It's so important to him. Football is everything, and he understands how important the football is, and putting those on the ground obviously impacted him. But what I liked is, I talked last time about when guys make mistakes, you can tell about how how your team is. About how they respond and everything, and you watch him, and he's able to move on to the next play. Now, obviously in a game, you fumble, they get the ball, you're having to go to the sideline, but I think a lot of guys, especially young guys, have a tendency when they make a mistake, they let mistakes breed mistakes, and it kind of bleeds into the next plays, and he's able to take a deep breath and obviously be frustrated, but all right, this next opportunity is another one, and so I've been pleased with how he's. I'm saying pleased a lot already, but I've liked how he's played and practiced.
Did you see much? What did you see from him in short yardage? And do you have someone who can be better than Josh, or besides Josh, who can be great in short yardage?
Yeah, I mean, I think what is a short yardage running back? It's some of it is scheme. It's you got to get 1 yard. It's short yardage is one of those plays that efficiency-wise, if I call a run play on 1st and 10 and I get 1 yard, we're feeling pretty bad about ourselves. But on 3rd and 1, I call the exact same play. If we get 1 yard, I'm feeling good. So some of that is just hats, hat on hats in the blocking game. I think from a running back, as long as they're able to, drive their legs and play physical, it doesn't matter the size of the back. And, I feel confident with Jimbo all the way down that if 3rd and 1, we can give him the football to be able to get a yard.
I know it's early, but have you been impressed by the offensive line depth so far, and if so, why?
It's I always say offensive line. I love hanging with the offensive line, being in the offensive line room, just how cohesive they are and how they communicate. And how, when you go out to practice, you can see, when the older guys are going, or quote unquote the ones, I hate calling the ones right now just because everybody's kind of working, but they're coaching the younger guys. Even guys that are veterans that might be working with the 2s and 3s are still communicating and coaching. We're all pushing each other, and that's how we're going to be able to have success. I joked with the guys yesterday, finally when the pads come on, we had some one-on-ones, they had a lot of success, and I was like, I might as well just drop it back every snap. But no, I'm liking how they're working, and Coach Cromer, you guys know how I feel about Coach Cromer and how great of a job he does with them, but it shows on the field that they care about each other, and the depth really helps. We were fortunate last year with how we were able to make it all year with those guys being healthy, but we know that in the NFL that's tough, and so we feel confident in just continuing to develop the guys behind them that we'll be able to have success whoever's in there.
We really haven't seen Zach Davidson for 2 years, practice squad and then the injury. Seems like he's out here making some plays. Can you tell us a little bit more about him? That seems like a healthy competition at tight end.
Yeah, Zach just flies around. He knows one speed, and it's a lot of fun to watch. He going through OTAs, coming off of an ACL, and he didn't have a brace. He was moving like it's impressive how he was able to recover and go out there and be able to still play at the speed that he plays with. Football is so important to him. He loves it, and when he flies around out there, you're able to see it. And when he has opportunities, he has a unique skill set, and it's a lot of fun watching him and continue to develop and go. Coach Boris has done an unbelievable job with him, but he's put in a lot of time. When he was hurt, he didn't sit there and say, "Hey, I'm hurt." It was like, "Hey, how can I get ready so next year when it comes, I'm gonna know what I'm gonna do," and he's made the most of it.
Joe, how do you go about gauging Travis Clayton, a guy who's new to this game?
Yeah, it's interesting, Coach. We always talk, hey, you remember, like me personally, I remember my first time putting on pads and the excitement, but also a little bit of anxiety, right? And you always try to remind the guys on the first day of pads and training camp that it's like, hey, take it back to your first day. Well, that was his first day, and but man, he went out there in a one-on-one rep, and it was a great rep, and seeing the guys, how they respond to him, he's not going to be perfect right now, but he's working at it. He has the right approach, and the guys are helping him. And so as long as him not trying to compare himself to Dion Dawkins right now and just saying, hey, I might not have won that rep, but man, I used this technique that I haven't used. To us, that's the big thing, and that's what's been exciting about him.
Are you guys picking up any English phrases or no?
No, I honestly, half the time I don't really understand what he's saying. But he's especially after a play when he's everything is going fast. But no, I'm not. It's tough. We got an offensive lineman last name Britton, and then we have so it's sometimes you just got to understand who you're talking to.
With Dion Dawkins, he's already so established as a leader on this team, as his caliber of play. What are you looking for him with this year just to take another step, or what are you trying to see when you evaluate Dion?
Yeah, I want I love Dion's demeanor and the way that he plays the game, and you saw and not, I don't want to say an improvement's the right way, but the maturity element of him, just the way that the day in and day out, taking care of his body, and the way that he was able to perform last year, and just being able to say that consistency out on training camp, like it's obviously it's hot days out here. It's a grind. Today he's going to get Von Miller rushing at him 30 straight snaps, but just continuing to just that mindset that hey, I'm an elite tackle in this league, and I don't need help. You don't need to give me a jam or anything like that, and I'm going to lock it down. And and when I say I challenge it, it's not because he doesn't have that mindset, but just making sure he knows that, hey, you're one of the best in this league, and you got to have an all-pro mindset at all given times. And I believe he has that, but just keep reminding him to it.
Joe, Connor McGovern, how have you seen him adapt to his new role? And the ball's been on the ground a few times on snaps. Is that a concern at this time in camp?
Yeah, Connor. I mean, he's so natural at the center position. He's such an elite communicator, and that's so important as a center. Being able to get everybody on the same page. We play so many games on the road, and being able to talk, and he does a great job in the room just leading. Balls on the ground are always going to be a concern. To me, you never just kind of push it aside, but that's expected, too, and they're staying after practice, doing before. Some of it is just different, them getting on the same page, and you're changing snap counts, and now you're going in pads against some guys. So I'm not concerned about it. I don't like when balls are on the ground, but nothing that's I think out of the norm.
Joe, what have you seen out of MDS so far? A guy that's played in a lot of big games. What have you seen so far at camp from him?
Yeah, he's working. he wasn't here when we put in the beginning of the system, right? And so seeing him, it's been a lot of fun, especially the last couple of days of like, hey, I want to make sure I'm gonna go down to the blue field so I can get you more reps. You know, it's the frequency. Is like I was a rep guy. And a lot of receivers, it's like it's one thing to know what you're doing, but hey, go down and let me go out there and feel it and get the vibe of the offense and some of the routes. And so a guy that's one of your older guys, he's going down on the field with some of the rookies, but it has nothing to do with performance. It's more of like I want to make sure you get these plays and you're getting enough time on task to be able to feel it and kind of roll. Does a great job in the room. You got him and Matt Collins, two veterans that have experienced it, played with it, are able to talk. Hey guys, this is how I'm seeing it. Hey, this type. So really pleased with how he's going up here. I know, I'd love to try to find the ball a little more to him, but like I talked, I'm not concerned with targets right now. If the ball are going to, when we do throw it to you, I want you to come down with it, but I'm not concerned with, production right now as much of people are doing their jobs.
Joe, do you like the way Alec Anderson seems to really irritate the defense? He seems like an irritant.
Yeah.
Do you like that about him?
Yeah, no, I'd say he's I think the more years he goes by, he might start to realize that you probably don't need a fight, but every day. But if I had to put money on day one, it was going to be him, and but he doesn't blink, and it's his personality, and it's way easier to tell a guy to back off than to bite, and I never have to worry about him biting. And
beyond that, he's got some versatility. He seems like he's a guy that's got a real chance to maybe do something.
Yeah, no, he showed last year, and to all these guys, right? It's a new year, and it's another opportunity. Hey, how are you going to continue to develop and take another step? And sometimes there's a vision for a guy one year, and it's, hey, make the football team now. Hey, can you become a valuable member on this? Hey, can you play center in the guard positions and be able to be a swing? He's got the right approach. As we just talked about, and he's really working the technique that Chrome kind of teaches. And so great competition in there, and enjoying watching him play.
Thanks, John.
Easy.